So you guys hear Steam is now throwing their hat into the ring for VR?
I have heard that.
Steam.
Yeah, Steam.
Huh. It's going to come out
Well,
with
Valve.
the Steam box.
Oh yeah, Valve, Steam, yeah. I mean, I think it supports the Steam box, obviously.
Doesn't the Steam box not exist either? And it's been going to be a thing.
No, the Steam box you can order it right now. I think I saw like unboxing videos, and it's like, oh my gosh, this thing's so awesome. It's just a
Really?
It's just a PC. That
What about their
runs Linux.
controller? Is that out yet?
I'm pretty sure
Or
it
is
is.
that part of the Steam box?
I think it's part of the Steam box.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
I
not sure.
thought third-party developers have made like compact gaming PCs that boot to some form of Steam, but that Valve has not released their Steam box.
I'd have to look it up. I could have swore that I saw unboxing videos. But anyways, so we got four. Now we have 4 VR headsets. Like, do you guys think it's weird that we have 4 VR headsets for gaming and there is 0 VR headsets currently for gaming,
So
other than
there's
Microsoft,
Microsoft,
Sony,
HoloLens,
right?
Sony
Morpheus.
Is that a code name or is that what they're planning?
No, I think that's the actual product name at this point. And then there's
Oculus
the
Rift.
Oculus Rift, and then the Steam HTC.
I think that what we're seeing is the iPhone effect, with the exception that the iPhone came out
And
the
then
day it was announced.
right.
Whereas the Oculus Rift came out long before. Like it's still not even out. It
Right.
was just announced so long ago that
Yeah, I mean, same thing with the tablet, right? Everyone thought tablet was dead, and
the tablet was dead.
right?
They were terrible.
And then they like made a tablet, and everyone started making tablets. It's just like instead of waiting for it to see if it'll succeed, everyone's just thrown there. Like they're like, oh, we gotta get on this VR thing.
So have you guys watched recently Steve Jobs' 2007 keynote address
No.
in which he announced the iPhone?
I watched it at some point. I watched it live. I'm pretty sure, and then I watched it at some point a few years later. But why do you mention that?
It relates to this discussion. I think when you're done with this discussion, check out Steve Jobs' 2007 iPhone announcement address.
Okay.
And with the positives or negatives of VR that you have to
Right.
discuss, you'll get to
Mhm.
hear what Steve Jobs said about that. And we can say with our perspective now what it has turned into
Right.
just 8 years down the line. And
Man, it's only been 8 years. That's crazy.
yeah,
It's
for
a
that,
phone,
yeah,
a music player,
Right.
Yeah.
and an internet browser.
exactly.
We're in the future.
So
So
you can temper your
Right.
VR expectations with your knowledge of what the iPhone has become.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
it's relevant.
Well, yeah, like so right now VR headsets are coming in at like $350. So
Which is not bad.
it's not bad, but you're
I mean,
like
if you compare that to the Sony Cinema headset,
yeah, it's
right?
like $1,000.
It's about
Right,
$1,000.
So the
Or even just a high-end monitor that will fill an appreciable portion of your field of view is going to be above 350
But-
bucks.
Right.
the thing with the VR is it going to give me enough enhancement to justify the cost? Does that make sense? So like, I mean, we can get
Like
into
the impact on your gameplay experience.
yeah, for the price of a console or the price of a new video card, you're paying for a new monitor. And then that's an interesting question. But so we have all these VR headsets being made and it's untested waters. And I'm really concerned that as far as gaming is concerned, that it's just going to fizzle out and become like, you know, like the Wii, where it had like, oh, look, peripherals, we can swing our arms. And like next generation, it's like they've already given it, like Xbox gave up on the Kinect. And
I hope VR manufacturers aren't pushing for swing your fist peripherals to go
Right.
with in-home VR because people are going to die.
yeah, just start punching people.
The Wii was one thing. People destroyed their furniture and broke arms and stuff playing tennis, but they did not have their eyes and ears covered.
There's
while they were
there's
doing
your
it.
viral video. Day one that the
Oh,
VR
yeah.
headset comes out, just punch your friend, and then you
Or punch yourself.
Yeah,
punch
yeah.
yourself.
Or break a leg
Get
on
your
your
$1 million
coffee table.
get your $1 million or million hit video by punching your friend, and then be like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
That's gonna happen. So you heard it here first. So yeah, I'm worried that VR is gonna be like the thing. Like 20 years from now, we look back like, remember when we thought that VR games were going to
Yeah.
be cool?
Remember when the Google Glass was a big thing?
Right. And
How does the Google Glass fail
So Google
the way it did?
Google's withdrawn it now too,
Yeah,
right?
right.
They gave up on it.
They've given up on it.
Google Glass, well, I think that with Google Glass, they thought people would be more on board for it. And that's the problem with VR is like they're expecting sales to justify development. And then
Right.
they're kind of doing it backwards. Like,
Well, the problem with Google Glass also is people are getting mugged because they're wearing this thing on their
Yeah.
head.
yeah, it's just
and-
like carrying your iPhone out at all times
Right.
in the bad part of town. So,
Or it's like flashing a camera in everyone's face.
I think that's a huge reason people rejected Google Glass, right? We all carry around a camera in our pocket, but we don't have it aimed forward at all times.
right.
Right.
And when you put the glass on, you have that camera pointed.
Right. And then there's cheaper ways to be hipster. Like you can just buy the scarf and then move on with life or put
Mhm.
like some holes in your jeans. Like you don't have to pay a whole bunch of money for Google Glass for people
Right.
to recognize hipster.
Yeah.
I guess the Microsoft one's the closest to that where it has like a see-through HUD that can go opaque.
Yeah. HoloLens looks like it's going to give you the tech demos I've seen short videos on and read about. It looks like you can have a translucent heads-up display, or you can go full opacity and have a
Right.
VR 3D headset.
I'm very interested in that. I play most of my games on PlayStation, so I see myself getting the Sony headset because the Sony's also going to work on PC. But there's that's starting an issue. So now you have so when iPhone came out, that was the only one you had. So you had to buy it if you wanted the touchpad screen for how long? About 9 months, 6 months?
Yeah, it wasn't very long at all.
But that's the one you had to buy. So everyone bought it, so it supported it. And then with that money, they made better ones. Now we have 4, and now you have to pick which one you want. Like,
Right. You're
You-
facing competition right from the start.
right. So like, if you're a game developer, hopefully you can make one for each one. But if Oculus comes to you and pays you a little bit extra money to make it Oculus Rift only, can you ignore that? Or
How much do we know about the dates these are going to come out?
Oculus Rift they're saying they're close to announcing the date. Last time I saw.
Okay.
But I think it's supposed to be 2016. The Steam is fourth
Steam
quarter.
said this year.
Yeah, fourth quarter.
Holiday time.
Yeah, fourth
Really?
quarter this
Yeah.
year.
Along
Morpheus
with Half-Life
is
3.
yeah. Morpheus is that's interesting too because Valve already supports Oculus Rift.
What was that announcement on the 3rd? I heard something about a Valve announcement on March 3rd at 3 p.m. That wasn't Halo or Half-Life 3.
Was it this? I mean, was
That'd
it,
be-
No,
was it
I
their
think they
VR
mentioned this
headset?
That'd be
before.
awesome if it's like 333 and then it's like and it's
Yeah.
it's Team Fortress 3.
I
and
don't know.
everyone's like,
I saw it
okay.
on Reddit and I never followed up
Oh,
on it.
I'll have to look that up. But I can tell people what it was if you look below. I can attach a link so you can figure it out without having to look it up yourself. But so yeah, now you have competition. So like, let's say that. So one of the things for this, I think for this to work is how like Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, and Microsoft had Halo, where like there's the reason you buy an Xbox is so you can play Halo. The reason you buy Nintendo is so you can play Mario. Nintendo's a little weird because they were kind of their own thing for a while. Like they were standing by themselves until Sega came out. And I think what we need is a game that comes out and says for you to like, you have to get a VR headset because this game is awesome. You need to buy it. And I hope that it's a third party not associated with a specific headset. So it ups the sales of all headsets rather than say, oh, it's only on Oculus Rift. So some guy's sitting there with a Sony Morpheus. He's not going to buy a second headset. You know what I mean? Like
Probably not.
So for success, I think that they need to have a third-party game that's so good with VR that everyone's like, you have to get VR headset. You need to try this. Show their friends it, stuff like that. But
What sort of game do you anticipate being the thing that causes people to get VR headset? What genre do you suspect?
I suspect it will be an open world. Like I could see a Skyrim-esque game being really successful.
Mm-hmm.
Or
But maybe just Skyrim.
yeah, the beauty of VR is that it actually gives you things that we haven't thought of in gaming, and that's what I'm hoping happens is like some aspect like as simple as like you use the right stick to move your body left or right, but you can turn your head right, so now you have two right thumbsticks basically, so you can like keep cover fired forward and look to your right to make sure that you're got your right side covered. Example 1882 when you're like making sure you're not getting shot up,
yeah.
or 1886, so you're not like the shotgun specialist doesn't take you out. Like there's elements to that could be really good. There's that space game coming out I think would be interesting where you're flying through space, like you're like
No Man's Sky.
No, the one that's like Gravity, where you're like spinning in space and trying to save your life. But No Man's Sky, I mean, like that's another issue. It can't be a game that just is enhanced. It has to be a game that you have to play with a VR headset to get the real experience. Like,
so the developer has to be willing to lose sales for all the people who didn't buy a headset.
Right. So, well, okay, that's first thing is that these developers need to make good games for their headsets. They need to be the ones that take the loss for these headsets. They can't expect a third party. Like that's what happened with the Vita. Sony made the Vita and did not make a game. They didn't put their own money into making a game that made it worth buying the Vita. Does that make sense?
They just said the PSP sold really well.
Right.
People want a new PSP.
Right. And they didn't think about losing Monster Hunter, which is the reason people had a PSP for the most part, like in mass sales, I would say.
I had one because I could watch movies on it.
Right. So Vita, they said, here's the Vita, third party make, and they're like, well, how many Vitas did you sell? It's like, well, not that many. And then they're like, so you want us to put our money into making a game for a console that doesn't have enough, like if we sold 1/4 of the people who own it, we'd be still taking a loss. So what Sony should have done with the Vita was make a game or two that justified buying the Vita themselves. Not the game, not the Halo game type thing, but something so you might take a loss, but you might sell more headsets. And then that will make the third parties make games for the VR headsets.
Perhaps like a Half-Life type game.
Right, exactly.
Can you imagine Half-Life 3's launch title for the
Oculus? For
what's it called? The HTC Vive.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would.
I think Valve would become a household name.
They
in the
would
United
dominate
States.
the market.
Right. That's perfect. I think that would be. It'd be kind of bad because then hopefully, like other people will make games that support it. Well, the other interesting thing I thought about that is really. You can just see the headset as a controller. So can you really make it so it like is a like?
Well, the headset is essentially, as you said, an analog stick.
Right. So can you really is it possible to make it so you can't play a game on a different VR headset without having it just acknowledge that it has a headset?
I mean, it depends, I suppose, on if they have different tilt sensing technology.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but it's interesting because you're basically in a way just like making it so you're saying you can only play this game on this monitor when like but I have another monitor. It's like, no, you can't use that monitor. What about this controller? No, you have to use specifically this controller. It senses that you aren't using the right controller.
Mm-hmm.
So are you concerned that they might fail because they won't sell enough headsets?
Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to start the snowball effect where they don't sell enough headsets, so they don't make any games, so they don't sell enough headsets, so they don't make any games, to the point that it just becomes a enhancement for non-VR games. So like you never get those guys making strides in VR, because like this opens a door to things that we haven't even thought of, but instead it will just be, there's a, with a little bit of overhead, we can make it so if you tilt your head, it tilts their head, and like that's the whole experience you get is.
Oh, I see what you're getting
right.
at. So you have a plain old game with some VR quirks.
Right. And like, I want, what I hope is that there's like a whole new world open up. I might be expecting too much, but I think there should be.
I think there is. And I think that is why you don't have to worry about, I think that maybe household use of a VR headset will be slow to establish an install base, but the business and industrial purposes and potential uses for a 3D display that someone can put on their head are going to make it such that 3D headset manufacturers and VR is going to sell well enough to stay profitable. It just might not be the next Nintendo, in the next 5 years, it might be
So you're saying
longer down the line.
it'll be successful and they'll develop the technology on the business side and then they'll arc it back into games when they
Yeah.
have it more established.
Well, and I think the immersive style display, it kind of has limited applications for home use, right? Like, let's say, truthfully, I don't see them really working out in the home because one is a safety issue. If you're playing games
Right.
and your head is covered, your ears are covered, you are isolated from the world. The second thing is the impact on people's personal lives, right? Like,
Right.
right now,
Yeah, like-
I play video games. If my wife wants to talk to me, she comes and
Yeah.
talks to me. If my head is covered and my eyes are covered,
Right.
she's going to have to come punch
So
me.
you can see in the news, like I already see like man broken in and killed because wearing VR headset. Did not know intruder was there.
Sure, that's another
And-
risk too. Or people just sitting down thinking it's the same as them playing Xbox,
Right.
but they have a better headset. But to the other people in their household,
They're isolated. Oh,
you're
the call.
gone.
Yeah, the first time Call of Duty is available with VR headsets, if they're popular enough, divorce rates are going to skyrocket.
oh sure, yeah. And every immersive game is going to have to be some form of MMO,
Yeah.
so that husbands and wives can go together.
Yeah.
And then when they have kids, they can just bring their children.
Like she has to put her VR headset on for him to like know she's like. It's like
Yeah.
dinner's ready, and you're like, oh okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly
yeah,
right.
so-
They have to have two-party interlocks to be allowed to play.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I think another thing that's scary is that people are going to start, like, it's going to start out people charging you $60 for mini games. You know how like the Kinect and Wii, when you got it, they gave you
For the PS4 with the Order 1886.
yeah, right. When you get the Kinect or the Wii, like they give you like free mini games to show you, oh, here's the potential of this game. But then
Yeah.
every game that came out after that was just another like set of mini games. Like, oh, I can golf
Right.
on this game. Like it never, like the Kinect never really made a game. It just they kept selling mini games, showing you examples of how this could work. And I worry that that's like you're going to go on Steam and you're just fiending for like you bought the VR headset. I need a VR headset. I guess I'll pay $60 for this game, and then it's just mini games, and you're just like, oh my god, is this really what I paid $60?
Well, you're gonna
for?
get a fair share of that for sure. I mean, people are still opening up possibilities for phone games.
right.
For example, Device 6, which we both played through more or less.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game that could have existed on the original iPhone, and right, I think so. Yeah, and it took that long for somebody to think of it.
No, that's true. Hopefully,
another-
you just gotta hope it happens sooner than later, where someone finally figures it out. Or, I mean, people have been thinking about VR since what was it, Virtual Boy? So like, hopefully, someone's been thinking about
Lawnmower
this.
Man.
Yeah, someone's
Yeah.
been thinking about this cool game for a long time, and now they
Mhm.
have the technology to do it. But yeah,
And they have the Unreal 4 engine to do it.
for free.
Because
Right.
just very recently,
Right, that helps.
that's right. All they'll charge is 5% royalty for any Unreal or any developer to use their engine, and they included Oculus in their announcement for that.
Do
So
they
I-
still get full tech support from them?
I don't know because I'm not thinking about licensing the
Oh,
engine.
that
but-
just popped in my head. I probably shouldn't have asked, but they're like that's, you're given a free, and then like you have to like everyone like because if someone buys a product, they can expect to have someone on the phone to help them out. But if it's all free, I wonder. But see, so Steam has had issues recently with quality control. If you didn't know, like they pretty much let any game put themselves on for about any price, and it's kind of bad. And they like let them write their own review, like they let them edit review, like delete reviews they don't like. They might have changed that policy. Basically, all you can trust is upvotes and downvotes type of thing. So when it comes to the HTC VR headset, I'm worried that people are going to be on Steam buying, and then like there's going to be a whole bunch of $60 games that are terrible, and that's going to give VR a bad rep. Whereas Sony consoles have better quality control, so they can set prices and they can make sure that the game is worth buying. So I see VR headsets for PC only running into that issue where like quality control is going to give them a bad rep. like, oh, I'm paying $60 for a whole bunch of mini games. Whereas Sony has the opportunity, not saying they will, to say no, that's a $10 game. You're not going to you're not going to charge $60 for that game.
I mean, do you think there's a chance that for VR games that it is more of, for safety and humankind's sake, it's better to go for the casual market and sell a bunch of $5 to $10 games than to go for a 300-hour game that's going to literally take someone out of the world
I mean,
for months?
I kind of agree, but I mean, there's a whole bunch of guys that live by themselves that would not be hurting anybody if they like lived their world in VR instead of. I mean, I think there's a good balance that you could have, but I would like for there to be a balance and not just a flooded market of bullet time dodging and like, you have to like look at things and like that's how you shoot them. I don't know. Like it's just gonna like it has a chance to get really, really bogged down with bad games. And it's like, oh, I bought a VR headset, but there's no good games out. And then like there might be great games out there, but you have to run through the library to find it. And Steam doesn't do the best at like showing you the good games are. Like once you go to ratings, then you have to filter by VR. And this is like, is that going to be an option?
Oh, I'm sure they won't have a problem promoting it. I'm sure that each device will probably come with its own marketing infrastructure.
Do you think the Oculus Rift waited too long now that they've let 3 people groups catch up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that they didn't release their product for a reason. And whether the market wasn't ready for it or the product wasn't ready for the market, I don't think that it was I don't think they've just been twiddling their thumbs. I think that there was a reason it's not out yet, and that waiting for competitors, those competitors are testing the waters just as much.
I think the better way to word it is that they should have got it out faster. Like they should have had it ready faster before they announced it.
The first person to market, and this is just a way that advertising is, the first person to market always has the advantage. They become the household name.
Sure.
Initially.
Yeah.
Until
initially.
they're the one to beat at that point.
I do think, well, I guess Android as an OS now outnumbers iOS, but no single device I don't think outsells.
I believe
the
that's
iPhone.
true. I mean, it's an odd comparison because
I think
there
Samsung,
are so many Android phones.
Yeah, I think the Samsung Galaxy S line might be competing with iOS for market share, but I doubt it.
No, I don't think it is. I think
Yeah.
it's 50-50 between iOS and Android, not iOS and.
So when
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
we say the first one on the market though is gonna nail the market share, like, who do you think will be buying these? Do you think this is gonna be a hot Christmas present this year?
I think the 2 markets are going to be kids with parents with disposable incomes. Like I need this Oculus Rift,
Yeah.
and
like,
then
hey, let me put that on my kid's head while their brain is developing.
right, and
How
then
could that go wrong?
like that's a big thing is you have a high like the level of disposable income is a high demand. Like you're asking $350 for gaming and other things, a home theater. You can still argue that, but it's a high entry price for an untested thing that will have very little reasons to buy it at first. So it'll be rough at first. Steam has the best in on that because they can just give incentive for people to develop their games and put it on Steam and say, hey, we'll put you on the front page if you make a good HTC headset game. But they've made a whole bunch of things available for Oculus Rift, so I wonder if they're going to retract that or if it's just going to be like all the same to them. They don't really care.
Right.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're gonna make money either way.
Yeah, Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 already support Oculus Rift, so
It's pretty nifty.
yeah. So Half-Life 3 probably will, and
A lot of updates to the Source engine also wound up like back applying to Half-Life 2 and stuff, didn't they? So when they added high dynamic range lighting,
you're right.
like that went across the platform.
Yeah.
So Half-Life 2 today might look different than when I played Half-Life 2
I
10
think
years
it
ago.
does. I think it does. Yeah. Well, yeah, they kept improving it. They did. So yeah, I think the game developers need to make their own games and take that bullet and give you a reason to buy VR. I think that they need to do quality control on the games what prices games come in at and what games are acceptable. And I think that someone needs to make the Halo of VR. That's my 3 hopes and wishes, and what I think will keep VR out of being a niche or a fad and make it actually something that stays with us for a while.
Oh, I don't think you have to worry about it being a niche or a fad. I just
As
don't.
far as gaming,
I kind of hope that it never becomes the. I think that if it becomes a predominant gaming form, like human reproduction rates are going to plummet. We're just going to lose people.
yeah.
I'm sure people made that argument over and over, and our reproduction rates have plummeted.
You say that, but you can now put your VR headset on and sleep with whoever you want while you have your VR headset on. You
Yeah.
know? Like pop it on.
Oh, Black Mirror did
Yeah.
something about that. Yeah.
There you go. So
Ah,
yeah, like it could go up. You never know. Like you don't have to
maybe.
be so stingy at the bar when you take home.
That's an interesting concept right there. Actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Like-
more of a HoloLens technology.
Yeah, there you go.
You just
Yeah.
overlay.
Right.
Yeah, augmented reality.
Wow.
Like that's how you pick up girls. Like I have Chris Hemsworth down back home, and
Yeah.
like sweet, and then like pop it on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see. So you can offer. So why not just Google Cardboard though for that? Or is Google Cardboard does iOS support Google Cardboard?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I'm not
So
sure.
part of Android, the thing that Google has, you can actually order for $30 a little cardboard phone case headset that fits almost all Android smartphones.
Oh yeah.
And you can plunk it on and have a 3D headset. And it does have one control function. So it uses all your phone sensors, the tilt and
Mhm.
magnetometer and all of that. And then the magnetometer also operates on a button. So you can interact with the world through a button using your phone's magnetometer. So you could take your pre-planned Chris Hemsworth and just
Yeah.
have a little Google Cardboard model. Like,
Right.
hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Got the full
There you
version of
go.
my house. Man, there you go.
Nice.
There you
We
go.
just saved VR
Yeah.
via porn.
Oh, yeah. That'll be its own thing.
Yeah.
That'll be, man.
Yeah, they already have a guy made so like you put a camera on the Rift and then you can like molest anime girls. Like that's already a thing. So.
Hmm. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I saw on Motherboard, my Vice's Motherboard channel, there was a future of sex video, and it involved. Yeah, I think that I honestly think it's gonna be like Demolition Man
Yeah,
before
Demolition
too
Man.
long.
Yeah.
Maybe a safer world.
Yeah, STD free.
I think that the worst case scenario for virtual reality, we repeat, as we were mentioning earlier, we repeat the PC tablet market of, 15 years ago? How all these companies were trying to make it work, and they couldn't. And then the iPad comes out, and after that, everyone just successful clones everywhere.
Right. So someone needs to show them how to do VR.
Yeah, and it could come as early as the Rift. It could be the first device out, or it might not happen for 10 years. It might fizzle, and you might see a new VR headset come out every couple of years for the next 10 years
Until they get it right.
until
Yeah.
somebody
Until
hits
Apple gets it right.
right
There it is.
until Apple comes out with
Exactly.
the VR
Yeah.
headset.
Apple's just laughing at everyone.
I-
Like,
you
oh,
know
that's
what?
cute.
That's an interesting concept. I don't think Apple has it in them anymore, to be honest. I think they've lost the edge
Come
Fine.
on now.
on being innovators. I just don't think they're there.
They're making a car company.
I was
Yeah.
about to say. I bet Apple's got more up their sleeves. They're not going
That's
to wow
another
us
thing too.
with
You
a new
can't
product.
you can't
so-
water down your brand like that.
Ah.
Apple is just is
Google's
losing
doing
their
it.
identity.
Google's working out pretty well for them.
Yeah.
Well, Google's core function or their core source of income has remained consistent.
When
That's true.
like there was an interesting point in time where if you owned an Apple phone, you're just like everybody else. But if you owned an Apple tablet, then you were a hipster. I think that's an interesting product thing. It's like, oh, you own an Apple, you own an iPhone, like get in line with everybody else. But if you own an Apple computer, it's like, oh, hipster. Like they own.
I mean, they
the
were
flooded market and the
they
niche
were
market at
they
the
were a
same time.
yuppie thing, yeah. Because
Yeah.
when you could buy, a desktop PC for $1,500,
Yeah.
the Mac with a smaller display and other stuff was going to cost you at least $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was all proprietary components. If you bought a Mac back
Yeah.
in the day, in the 90s, if you bought a Mac and you wanted to upgrade the RAM, you were probably going to have to get it serviced to make that happen.
Right.
You couldn't just go buy some sticks at the store. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
that's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then people are going to want to take their VR headsets to the
Actually,
coffee shop. Sorry.
I did. Oh God, no.
Yeah, like that's
No,
gonna
there's not
happen.
going to be any VR headsets in the coffee shop. You still have the old typewriters
Right.
from the 40s.
There you go.
Well, no, with the Microsoft, they'll have the hologram typewriter. While they're
Oh,
looking
the
through it.
hologram typewriter.
Right.
Maybe that's where I see, and for some reason in my mind, I really don't see the home audience and VR gaming being the thing. I feel like VR could be your thing that brings back the arcade. Like it could, I really just don't see people standing for someone, I don't think people want to just disappear for hours into a game
Right.
at home. I think it's a fun novelty to go and enjoy and have your mind blown, but I don't think I could be completely wrong. And I'm now that I've said it out loud, I am completely wrong. But
They should come with one so you put your VR headset on, but you hand your wife a thing, so whenever she walks in front of you, it pops up on the VR headset as the person's in front of you, so like
Yeah.
you can stay out of trouble.
Even if that's true, I could totally get down with the HoloLens.
yeah, HoloLens.
Can you imagine HoloLens GPS?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for that to be a thing because it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I know it's cool to hate Microsoft, but I think they have the best.
I don't
concept
know.
right now.
I haven't heard anything about HoloLens release. Do you know if they've even got close to projecting?
I don't know.
I do not know. I think I read 4 articles total about it, and
Well, no, I think I was looking for them to announce a release, and I don't think they have any. Like they'll probably be the last. Well, which is first and last are the two options. You're either the first or you're the guy who went last and like fixed all the things people complained about. That's your two best places to be with this.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I want to work. I want there to be a whole bunch of sweet VR games. I want to throw it on and isolate myself from the world. Maybe gain another 50 pounds. And
Mhm.
but
Maybe you could eat virtual food, and that would actually be like a weight loss
Mm.
program.
that I
do a Clockwork Orange weight loss program.
Exactly.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
when I all things like that. What level of character detail can be attained
Yeah.
on a huge display? And like, man, why not go nuts? Just people are gonna die by the thousands.
Oh, there's going
MMOs have already killed hundreds.
Yeah, this is. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
there's going to
that's a
be
good point.
like abuse. Like I punched my wife. It's like, no, I was wearing a VR headset. I didn't see her. And then, like, yeah, I mean, like if you're a wife trying to like get out of a marriage, you just wait till he puts those
Mhm.
peripherals in his hands and just stand in front of him. Just it's like, yes, I got it.
They're gonna come with playpens. Is how it's gonna work out.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. There's going to be someone get killed via home intrusion. There's going to be someone that burns in a fire. There's just going to be someone who falls asleep with it and then gets stuck to their head. There's just
Hundreds or thousands of children starve to death because their parents are just gone,
right.
grind questing.
Yeah.
Man.
Is that a bad thing though? Really? I mean, people go to sleep with headphones in.
Well, I mean, it's going to be the horror case where like the person's hair got stuck, and then like when they pulled it out, they pulled their hair out. Like it's going to be some horrific, and
Oh,
like
I don't know.
leading up on Fox News how VR is
Oh, of course. Well,
destroying the world.
yeah.
But
Until they put out their Fox News virtual reality app.
yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
Like if let's show us our America. So like when you look through it, it's like
Yeah.
yeah,
When you angrily nod in agreement with them,
yeah,
you
like
can,
you get bonus points. Yeah.
there it is, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oculus Rift not. I like of the three, Oculus Rift's at the bottom for me. Like I'm
Is it really?
not going to buy it. No, it's I don't.
I mean, universities in our town are using them right now for modeling stuff.
I get, but like for gaming, one ethics, they were a startup group that sold out to Facebook.
What
Yeah, that's a thing. Like I understand that you're like, oh, they,
people wanting to start a business going for the big money. Yeah, those.
No, that's fine. But have you seen the Facebook privacy statement lately?
Sure.
And now, are you gonna put a Facebook camera on your head and all that?
I mean, you
that-
have an Apple camera on your head. Have you looked at the Apple
I?
privacy? Well, no, not in your head, in your pants. I mean,
okay.
but no,
I understand that weirdness. I totally
It's
get
like-
it, but
you give some guy some money to like, he's like, oh, I can build you a really cool porch, and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, here's some money, and then he builds himself a really cool porch. Like you can come to my porch and sit on it. Like I did what you asked for. There is a cool porch. You can come sit on it. It's like,
do
but
you
it's
think
not my
the
porch.
people who contributed to the Kickstarter are not going to get the Oculus Rift? That they aren't going to get their tier level gift?
I know that there has been a big backlash after that from the investors.
And by that you mean the Kickstarter
was-
contributors?
Right.
Yeah, investors in quotes. There was a statement put out by Oculus, whoever was the PR guy. He said, "We expected a backlash, a negative reaction, but we didn't expect it to be this bad."
Yeah.
Remember,
But $2 billion, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
don't you realize I can retire now?
Yeah.
Right.
$2,000 million.
I think it will be the least successful of the four, especially if it doesn't come out first. Because
Yes, agreed.
Microsoft has some cool stuff it's doing.
I mean, the people at Epic Games who made Unreal Tournament, they made Gears of War. They've been making games. They've made Duke Nukem like
right.
when it was cool. They name dropped Oculus when they announced their.
I understand.
So
But
some
it's-
heavy hitters in the industry seem pretty confident that
Well,
Oculus is probably going to be A-okay.
Okay, so it doesn't do the special things that the Microsoft one does. It's not coming out as soon as the Rift, or as soon as the Steam one is, and it doesn't play on consoles. So everything that gives the other three an advantage, it has none of those. What advantage does it have?
Is it known not to play on consoles?
They said that they're too good for consoles. They said that the stuff we're trying to do consoles won't support.
I mean, and truthfully, Oculus may have far more in mind than gaming. Like maybe
yeah,
they
and that's
want
fine.
maybe
And,
they
like,
want Facebook
but-
to be a place you go.
right. Then that's fine. But I'm just saying that they kind of betrayed their roots.
Well, they also have prime advertising space on the most used site on the internet,
no, that's true. I mean,
except for I think Google, maybe
I just,
YouTube.
so they have advertisement advantage, but Steam is pretty popular with gaming community on PC.
Sure.
So I think they have a more streamlined advantage. And then it has nothing special anymore. It's like everything has something that does better than that one, and it
Hmm.
doesn't particularly do anything better than the other ones, from what I've seen.
I'm gonna go for the one that gives. Well, I mean, assuming I buy one, I'm gonna go for the one that gives me the best visual display. I think that's my
Because you want home theater.
home theater.
Yeah.
That's my top concern.
Yeah. No, I can, that's a fair thing. Like whichever gives me best home theater. Because if you really wanted to play a game, you could.
Yeah.
Not that
'Cause
you will, but
even if
Now-
even if the virtual part of the games is terrible, you still have the display. You can still play any game.
right.
So I've watched a few Oculus videos on the YouTubes, and one thing I've noticed is that people basically everyone has said that when they're not in control of the camera, that computer controlled camera movement just makes them want to puke. So like, do you want to open it up to the rest of your gaming library?
There's going to be a group of people that won't be able to use VR at all. And I think there's going to be a group of people that can't use it under certain just like 3D movies. Like some people just can't do 3D movies.
I prefer not to.
Right.
Yeah, there's like 10% of the population is 3D blind. They call it.
Right. So I think there is going to, like, hopefully they've done enough research and they're just assuming that not everyone's gotten sick to this point, but like there's got to be someone that doesn't get sick, right? But I assume that they know that there's at least a good number of people that can use it without getting sick. That'd be the worst thing for me. Like I've been looking forward to VR and I put the headset on and find out that I'm VR blind.
Yeah.
I'm like,
One that
oh.
the only people who haven't abandoned the technology are architects, shipbuilders, and the adult film industry.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I have AutoCAD and hardcore pornography. What will I lose myself in today? Yeah.
As far as being sick, though, I don't think that's a major obstacle. I mean, if you think about it, if you had never seen a car before in your life, and then you got into one when you were 30, might it make you nauseous
And
to go on a cruise down the
right.
highway? Like, we grew up with them, though. I've known car trips my entire
Well,
life.
and with the
suppose you're
3DS,
right, yeah.
there was a way to adjust your 3D-ness.
Yeah.
So like you can make it intense to 0.
Ah.
Well,
so
that
you-
just hurt my head because it's like, you know those images where you look
Cross
past
your
them,
eyes.
cross
Yeah.
your eyes?
Yeah.
That's how it is looking into those screens.
Yeah. So you
For
can
me.
kill the 3D, so it's just a regular screen. So they can do that where you still have the VR feel for your head, but you're not getting a 3D image, which would
Sure, they could do that easy,
Yeah.
yeah.
cut down on that a lot.
That'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
It would be weird because then you're just like, if you don't have 3D, but you're getting the realism of turning your head, I see like there being a separation that will feel awkward.
I mean,
I don't know.
even watching my 2D monitor, if I'm playing a game, occasionally games can get immersive to the point where I
Mhm. Oh yeah, where
probably,
you're like turning.
yeah, if I'm playing a
that's
shooter
true.
sitting on my couch, like I
Yeah.
bet if I saw a video of myself, I would crane my neck
Yeah.
around corners. So
Yeah,
I don't think, and that's a 2D display.
yeah, that's
It's
true. I
10
guess that's
feet away
true.
from me.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else?
Virtual reality is going to be a success eventually. It might not be for another 10 years. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I like Alex's perspective where it's gonna fail in the gaming, and then it's gonna be popular, and then someone's gonna get it. Well, both of your theories combined, basically. Like this one's gonna be a bust.
Yeah, when Windows came out, you used to still have to launch your games in DOS because you didn't need Windows for a game.
Right.
So
Yeah, I see your guys' combined theory working out more than just it working straight out the bat. It'll still be around. People use it for game enhancement, but it won't be like what we've always pictured the future looking like.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it looks like touch is the way of gaming. I think that when we're old enough to have grandkids, kids that play games will look at an Xbox 360 or PS4 controller and just think it looks like a primitive toy.
What I like about the Microsoft thing is if they can make it so it's opaque when you're looking up and clear when you're looking down, you could play.
Bifocals.
Yeah, you could type because typing is going to get way better. That's for sure. Because you're not going to be able to look at the keyboard except for the Microsoft one if they made
Right.
it so opaque. And if you have to type, like if you're playing an MMO and you have to type something, which if we're wearing VR headsets but not using live chat video, which is or live chat, like that would be hilarious. Like I'm immersed.
Some chat roulette in the VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're using VR headsets, but you're still typing. That's exactly what's going to be like. I hate that talking's not a thing in games. It's so
I mean, you
stupid.
are allowed to. You can throw on your headset and talk now.
Well,
in
like
every game you
with
play,
the
right?
World of Warcraft, you still typing is what most people do, right?
They do have a chat system, but it's terrible.
Yeah, and trolled, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No. It's not like open world chat. Well, I mean, I haven't played in a really long
Right.
time. But
It's not proximity chat or anything.
no,
like
it's
that.
not proximity chat.
Like
It's like
Rust.
it's like if you joined a group.
Okay.
It would be a group chat.
Yeah. So hopefully with VR comes proximity chat and MMOs. But if you're typing and we're in VR, like we've done things wrong. We've gone backwards somehow.
Oh, you need proximity chat.
Yeah. But like that'd be interesting if Microsoft does that where you look down and you
Yeah.
can like see things, bifocals.
And
Man,
you
we're
could,
just giving good ideas.
you could
out.
actually
We gotta start
enhance the
charging.
experience that way because if you forced everyone to be wearing headphones, like if headphones were incorporated into the unit, then you wouldn't have like the background
Yeah.
music.
And dudes
that-
acting like girls. So there's
Yeah.
that too.
You would have voice changers though.
Yeah, I
That'll
was
still
gonna
be a thing.
say, I
Voice
I-
augmentation.
highly recommend the Motherboard video. I think it's called "The Future of Sex," and I think that, like I said, gaming won't matter for VR. It'll open I think Second Life is already a thing out there. It's
Mhm.
like just an MMO life simulator apparently,
Yes.
where you can like get married and have sex and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that 3D display technology, there's remote sex technology. Like
nice.
people will be able to say like, "Hey, I have this peripheral. If you get the other side,
Oh,
we can do each other over the
I didn't even
internet.
think about
Oh,
that.
that's a thing.
yeah,
That exists.
Oh, that's
So,
genius.
yeah,
Wow. So that's just been waiting on VR. Like VR is
Yeah.
behind.
yeah."
Yeah.
Well, now it's starting to be a thing. Like, and I think
Oh man.
like the prospects for the 3D headset in home is so terrifying, dude. Like it's the gaming thing. It's been my whole argument against you. I think it's gonna fail as a gaming thing. Like, yeah, it might, but that's a drop in the bucket, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh man.
think of it
Virtual
less like a
sex.
new monitor and think of it like a new operating system in the way that your iPhone was compared to your Windows PC. Because you interact with your iOS device, with your touch device.
Right.
It's not even the same way you use the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that adding in head tracking and full
Mhm.
sound, full display,
Oh my.
and
goodness.
then other body peripherals yeah.
I mean, I'm still writing more fan fiction, but like I can see like National Enquirer, like girl gets pregnant with VR sex.
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
There you go.
gosh.
I mean, well, hey, and that might be a safer way for human reproduction to occur. You can get genomic screening on your germ cells and weed out all the birth defects, and
Oh man.
there it is, tiered civilization.
Yeah, VR is definitely going to make it.
Yeah.
I did not
It's gonna lead
even
to
think about
speciation
that. Yeah.
in humanity.
Yeah. VR is going to make it. Maybe not in gaming.
Yeah, dude. Gaming doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I love
When
gaming.
porn has the best VR rig,
Yeah.
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, no, yeah, because when porn is getting to be more sex than porn,
Yeah.
and when multiplayer sex is a thing with body peripherals, like, yeah, dude.
It'll start off archaic, so you have like rolls. Like,
Yeah,
You
it's
rolled
just-
a 6. Like, yeah, good job.
It's just that all of a sudden people are going to decide to start getting real jobs in Second Life,
Yeah.
and they're just going to sit on a waterbed and
Hmm.
just be away.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dude.
Super excited.
Yeah, you're looking.
I'm excited.
And
Yeah.
again, like on the Microsoft HoloLens demo, they showed you control it panoramic view of Mars. So they had a 3D display compiled from rover photographs of the Martian surface. That's pretty incredible right there. So you can go elsewhere using three-dimensional reconstructed photographs. And now you can go to the top of Everest and not get cold.
Hmm.
There will be games, though. I think that the world would be safer if they were relegated to the App Store level rather than
Super immersive MMOs.
Final Fantasy 17 being an Oculus game. That, like, 100-hour game when you are physically isolated from your surroundings, I don't see that going mainstream. I hope it doesn't go mainstream because that means you got to get two for your house because you can't just sit in the fishbowl and, like it's too scary for me.
I wish you could see what I'm seeing. It's awesome. Yeah.
But if it's a 5-minute, if you could play for 5 minutes and it gets you off of it,
Yeah.
that sounds way safer. Or if the arcade makes a comeback and you can, well, I hope they wipe them down between uses, but you can go play VR for a few minutes and then
Yeah.
get away from it.
Yeah. So VR is going to make it for a minimum because of porn and other attached.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time.
Right.
It might not be this round of devices.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We were born, I mean, we were born 30 years too early, or if the Earth collapses on itself, then 30 years too late.
Yeah, there
For
you go.
yeah, I guess for Aura success, I expect it will be Steam, Microsoft, Sony, Rift. I'm going to get the Sony one, but that's because I play PS3 game. Or
Why
PS4
would you
game.
put Steam above Microsoft and performance?
Because it's coming out first.
But Steam is, especially if it's sold under the Steam brand, like that is a gaming toy, whereas Microsoft
No,
is
I'm saying for
offering an
gaming
enterprise
success.
solution.
No, I was ranking gaming
Got it.
success.
Got it.
Steam, Microsoft, Sony, and then Oculus Rift.
But Steam might want it to be PC proprietary, and Microsoft is probably going to want to go with Windows 10
Mm.
to include
I'm only
Xbox.
giving it the edge because it's coming out first. That's the reason I'm giving it the edge.
Got it.
Whichever one came out first, I'll give the most edge to.
Word.
Right. We got a lot of good ideas in there, so
Yeah.
hopefully
We'll accept royalties
Yeah.
for any suggestions used.
whenever if they start calling it bifocals, we gotta start calling. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think we can trademark the bifocals term.
Yeah. Ben
We can-
Franklin got that one.
We can at least tell cool stories like that was our idea.